Chapter 8. M. Manu took each step as though he was playing Operation, finding an area with no loose twigs or things that his body weight would crunch, and then slowly placing his heel down first. Then he would roll the rest of his foot down until it was flat. His eyes were bloodshot and burned. His bad leg ached, and his ankles were starting to get sore from supporting the rolling motion. We didn't have a choice, did we? Manu thought about Mark, begging for them to save him. Maybe those things weren't really as smart as Lou thought. Maybe they could have scared them off and saved him. He thought about how silent they had been, and that unnerved him more than anything. Things that big should have made all sorts of noise. That they didn't showed at least some level of intelligence. Maybe there was no chance, or maybe I'm just lying to myself to avoid the blame. How the hell could these things survive out here this long without being discovered? Maybe they hide underground? Manu continued his way through the jungle and breathed a sigh of relief when he first caught sight of the beach through the trees. Keeping his eyes peeled for Lou, he hadn't seen or heard him since he left the clearing, he made his way onto the beach. Walking all the way to the damp sand and then an inch into the water before he finally stopped his heel rolling. He was surprised to find himself not too far from where he had first swam up and started walking towards the rocky section of the beach. With no signs of Lou, he found a boulder big enough for him to lay on top of and leveraged himself up. He tried to stay awake, keeping a lookout for Lou, but his exhausted body and the relaxing noise of the surf got the best of him. Achievement. Near death. Double or nothing. Achievement. Every man for himself. Achievement. Dishonored brotherhood. Class. Scout. Granted. Scout level 1. Skill. Lesser stealth. Obtained. Manu groaned as he woke groggily. Had someone said something? Scout? Stealth? Manu! Manu jolted awake with a start. There was Lou. He looked like death, bloodshot eyes with dark circles underneath, leaning on his walking stick. Bro, you made it! Manu slid off the rock and embraced Lou, lifting him off his feet. Lou was at first tense, but then his body relaxed. Yes, Manu, I am okay for now. Now put me down. Luke gave a slight chuckle as Manu set him down. Lou, you should rest, bro. I can keep a lookout. Lou had an exhausted, sad expression on his face. Manu, we only have a few hours of daylight left. We need to find a safe place to sleep if we can. What would be safe from those things? They climb the trees easily. I don't think anywhere on the island would be safe. I'm not sure, Manu. Lou sighed. There's a lot of rocky shore here. Maybe we can find a rock that is far enough away from the beach that the ants would not be able to cross it. I do not think ants can swim, though I am not sure. Manu brightened. That's a good idea. And if they can, the water would help dampen the noise we make, and we can cover ourselves in mud again. Their eyes can't be good, otherwise we'd be dead, indeed. Good point. Lou nodded. Hey bro, before we do anything, you should sleep for at least a few minutes. I don't know if Mark was right about the leveling stuff, but when you woke me up, it said I had gotten the class Scout and a skill, Stealth. You should see if it happens to you too. I'll wake you up right away so we don't waste time. Lou nodded. It is worth trying. Lou sat down, placed his stick next to him, then laid down the rest of the way. Do not let me sleep longer than 5 minutes. Manu nodded. Manu watched him shut his eyes, then waited a second and said, Bro, you asleep yet? Lou's eyes fluttered open. Manu, yet. Try counting to 60 after you think I am. Manu waited, scanning the edge of the jungle. Soon, Lou's breathing became rhythmic. Manu silently counted to 60 and whispered, "Sleep." Manu decided to give him another 60 seconds, then walked over and gently shook him awake. Lou's eyes shot open. "How long was I out?" "Only like 2 minutes, bro." "Well?" "I got 2 classes. Scout, but also teacher." Lou chuckled. "Teacher?" "Manu, I don't know how this works, but I was a professor of history. Maybe it draws from our past." Lou continued. "I got the skills stealth, acumen." "What is acumen?" "Acumen means quick decisions or good judgment or like depth of knowledge on a particular subject. I'm not sure what it means here." Okay. Lou, did you happen to get any achievements as well?" Lou sighed and nodded. "Yes, Manu. I would imagine we each got the same." "So you got the dishonor?" "Yes, Manu. It seems allowing Mark to die was noticed. And I believe it suggests some link between you and I for sharing the blame." Lou thought for a moment. "I'm not sure what any of this means, but I don't feel any different." "I think my lesser regeneration did make my leg heal faster. At least faster than it would normally. I've had injuries before and they never heal that fast." "By that logic, at least the skills do something. Maybe stealth will help us hide from the ants. But for now, we should look for a place to rest. We should split up and search down the shoreline. Count to 1800, that's 30 minutes, then return. If you find a good spot, return immediately. Hopefully one of us finds something, and we can both get out there in time before the ants awaken." "Okay, bro, got it." Manu held out his hand in a fist. Lou looked confused. "Pound it, bro." Lou raised his eyebrows with realization and brought his fist to tap Manu's and nodded. "Good luck, Manu." "Good luck, bro." Manu had counted to 900 when he saw it. It looked as though a small, solid rock part of the island had jutted out into the ocean like a peninsula. At one point, it may have been possible to walk onto it from the island, but now there was a 15-foot gap. The water must have eroded underneath the base and collapsed it. The formation maintained the same height as it moved from land out over the water. Gave it the appearance of getting taller until its base hit the water line. It appeared to rise about 10 feet or so above the water. This left a decent oval-shaped plateau that was completely surrounded by ocean. "Perfect." Manu turned and started heading back. "We will survive the night. We'll be able to sleep," he thought. Manu made it back to the starting position first, but he already saw Lou returning from the other direction. "Bro, I found a really good spot. There's a huge gap between it and the land. It's decently high above the water, and there's more than enough room for us to sleep." Lou raised his eyebrows and his eyes widened with excitement. "Manu, I also found a potential location. It's a rock that rises above the ocean, but only just barely. It might even be slightly covered at high tide. It also looks like it might be a tight fit for both of us. I think yours sounds better. Let's go." The sun was just starting to set as they made their way back to Manu's spot. "Manu, how do we get onto it?" "I think we can climb back if we swim around. Follow me." He eyed the water for sharks, then waded out, having to swim the last few feet to get behind the formation. Sure enough, water had eroded the front, and it had partially collapsed, leaving a small area he could stand up on. He stretched out his hand and could barely reach the top, but he doubted he could pull himself up. "Manu, boost me up, and then I'll help you up." Manu nodded and reached out for Lou, easily lifting him out of the water and raising him towards the top. Lou grabbed the edge, then Manu helped push him up. Lou grunted as he went over the edge to rest on the top of the rock. Manu, hand me my stick first. Lou pointed at his stick on the ground. Manu passed it up to him. Manu could normally do a couple pull-ups when training, despite his size, but he was so exhausted. Bro, when I go, try to grab my shirt or shoulders to help. I'll need my arms to pull myself. Ain't no way you can lift me on your own. Lou nodded. Ready? Manu jumped and pulled with the momentum. His head quickly rose above the rock, and then he tried to get an arm over, but his own weight started to drag him down. Then he felt Lou grab his shirt and grunt. It was obvious Lou was pulling with everything he had, and the shirt started to rip. Manu just barely noticed the extra lifting force, but it was enough. He was able to get a knee up and over and then lay gasping for a few moments before pulling the rest of his leg up. He looked around. The top of the rock was relatively flat with some of what looked like old bird droppings in places, but other than that, it was empty. Manu smiled. We did it, Lou! He held up his fist. Lou shook his head slightly, but smiled as well and pounded it. He looked up at Manu with bloodshot eyes and dark eye circles. Okay, Manu, good job. I say we sleep, then tomorrow we look for fresh water and find a tree to bridge the gap over here so we have easier access. I'm going to rest. Lou turned to lay down. Manu eyed the sunset and then the island warily. Then he too lay down